Hi Year 11s, welcome to your third video which is all about abortion. What we're going to be doing is looking at some key facts, figures, statistics and looking at some of the key terms associated with abortion and looking at why it's a controversial issue and why some people might be for and against it. On we go. Right, an abortion then is when the fetus is removed from the mother's womb. Now the reasons that people might want to get an abortion will vary. For some it's because they can't afford to bring up another child, or perhaps they didn't mean to fall pregnant and they feel that having the child would affect their quality of life, or perhaps it could affect the child's future quality of life by having it. For some people it could just be that the pregnancy wasn't intended, it wasn't planned, and therefore it's a way out of what could be seen as a mistake. However, abortions go beyond that, and for some people it's a medical necessity that they need an abortion. They absolutely require one for the sake of their health. One thing that is important to note is you cannot just get an abortion for the sake of it. It's not as simple as, oh, I want one, let's go. You've got to be able to provide good, clear reasons, and what we'll be doing later on in the video is looking at what's actually legal in Britain and why, in what circumstances do we allow an abortion. Yep. Now when it comes to views about abortion, there are two key words that you need to be aware of. You can decide throughout the course of this video, or even this year, or perhaps even later on in your life, where you lie when it comes to your own views about abortion. One thing that this video won't do is encourage you to think in a particular way. And the first word up there is pro-life. And if you are pro-life, you do not agree with abortion because you will believe that the fetus that is inside the womb has the right to live. Now generally for most people at any stage of the pregnancy they will see it as a life. Some people will call it a baby from the moment the pregnancy occurs, others might not. But if you're pro-life, it is a baby, it is a life, and ending that life at whatever stage is seen as a form of murder. Now the second term associated with abortion is pro-choice. This is the opposite of pro-life. And if you are pro-choice, as far as you're concerned, it is down to the mother to choose whether or not she has an abortion. This really does link with quality of life argument. As a woman, you should be able to decide whether or not having a baby is the right thing for you. And if it's not, then it's perhaps in the baby and your best interest to abort it. Being pro-choice doesn't mean you necessarily have to like abortions, but it's about accepting that it's down to the mother to make the right decision and do what's right for both her and the fetus or unborn child. Now, having watched that, you may be wondering, what is legal in Britain? Well, you are allowed to get an abortion legally as long as you're within 24 weeks. Anything over 24 weeks and an abortion is either an extreme circumstance or illegal. Now, it's not, like I said earlier, as simple as, oh, I don't want this baby, I want to get rid of it. The mother's mental health or physical health has to be endangered. Now, there's a natural issue there that at what point do we say that there's a risk when it comes to mental health or physical health? Are we talking about you have to have severe mental handicaps in order to allow an abortion, or could it just be a case of it's making you feel down and therefore it could lead to worse things? So that in itself is an issue to consider. And also that another criteria that could be met is that the baby is likely to be severely physically or mentally handicapped, and that will naturally affect not only their own quality of life but also on the family's quality of life. And it's about making that judgment about at what point is it not worthwhile and therefore possibly in everyone's best interests to have the abortion. Now, this criteria isn't set in stone. It's not as simple as you have to be the extreme end of all these things, and different doctors will make different decisions regarding the abortion. But the reason it's legalised is to prevent illegal abortions happening, because back in the day there were things called backstreet abortions, which often put the mother's health at risk. And by keeping it something that's legalised, we're able to control the situation in a much safer way. Now I've got a quick little activity for you. What I want you to do is link sanctity of life and quality of life to pro-choice and pro-life. I want you in your notes to write on the Q side sanctity of life and tell me how that links to what we've looked at in the video so far, or what you've put in your notes so far, and then put quality of life in the Q column, and then again link that to what you've been looking at. Pause it here, watch the video again, and so on. And when you've done that, we can move on to the final part of the video.
That's not school.
Right, we've reached the end of the video. This is your checklist. You need to know for your lesson what abortion is, what pro-life and pro-choice actually mean, what's legal in Britain, and be able to link it, sanctity of life and quality of life. Now, as per usual, if you are unsure, rewatch the video, check with a friend, or come see me. You have to bring your notes to the lesson. There's no ifs and no buts about it. Now, just to take you that a little bit further, where you write your summary at the bottom of your notes, if you've got any questions, and that doesn't need to be a case of I don't understand something, but if something's occurred to you and you want to know more, write a question, and when I go through your notes, I'll try and respond to the question, or it might be that we'll respond to that question in the lesson. So try and have a think about, is there anything that I want to know more? Now, when you come to the lesson, we're going to be looking at what happens when abortions aren't given when they're needed. There's a case from Ireland, which I'll be introducing you to, and also we'll be looking at the other side and say, well, can a baby survive at 24 weeks? And if so, should the abortion limit be lowered? The next video is on religious views of abortion. I'll see you soon.